Hey guys, my name is Dan. I work for an organization called Newport Festivals Foundation, and we produce the Newport Folk Festival and the Newport Jazz Festival. You guys ever heard of those festivals? The Newport Folk Festival, Newport Jazz Festival? Raise your hand if you've heard of those festivals. Nice, got a few hands up there. Very cool. So they happen at Fort Adams State Park. Fort Adams State Park is on that little peninsula in Newport. You've probably been to the Fort Adams State Park, I would imagine. And they happen in July. And they're two of the oldest music festivals in the world. They've been around since the 1960s. They're really for a music festival. And
Oh yeah, appointment check.
sounds like someone's talking. So in addition to producing those festivals, we also support music education programs. And the reason we do that is because we know how important and how impactful music is and how much of a positive impact it has on people's lives. And so basically what happens is we take the money that we earn from the festivals and we turn around and we give it to music education programs like schools and after school music programs and stuff like that. And so what we've done here today is we've asked one of the artists that's played our festivals, that's Kam, who's going to join us in a minute. We've asked her to talk to you guys about what it's like to be a musician and talk a little bit about vocals. And as your teacher, Brianna, or Miss DeWitt, just showed, she took some of the beats that you guys made and worked on them a little bit to show you what it's like to work with a producer and to collaborate with another musician. So Kam has played our festival called the Newport Folk Festival. She's in a band called The Suffers. Did you send them a link of her in the band, Brianna? If not, I would recommend after this, you guys Google the band The Suffers.
The fifth graders did watch. Sixth
Nice.
graders who I didn't have. Not quite, but I'll send something.
Cool. Well, she's one of our favorite musicians, and her band The Suffers is so good. I think you guys will all like them. They're from Texas. And so she's going to talk a little bit about, her life as a musician. And I think afterwards, or maybe you guys already wrote down some questions, but hopefully she'll be able to answer some of your questions, and it'll be fun. So that's my spiel. That's it.
I think I saw Kam come in. I think I just saw her name.
There she is.
Hey, Keel, we're not doing any questions for the rest of the meet, okay? Thanks.
Morning. Sorry, everybody, for being late. I definitely thought this was at a different time. I was like, oh, it's at 12:30. Y'all are on the East Coast, 11:30 my time. So I'm a little upset because this meant that I had to stop watching Jeopardy early, but I'm so glad that I get to be here with all of you. So first of all, I want to say thank you so much for having me. I want to say thank you to everybody that submitted beats. Brianna, thank you so much. Like I was blown away. First of all, I'm very jealous that y'all have access to production equipment at such a young age. So I am 33 years old. I'll be 34 in June, but I wrote my very first song when I was 10 years old. And, at 10, I knew I had it. So if you're that age and you feel in your heart you're going to be a rock star, I will let you know real quick though. A few things made writing songs so much easier for me. Reading and English. I know it sounds like, really? But seriously, having access to all the words, all the vocabulary, and even though I'm not a big fan of math, I have to admit, learning math and continuing to focus on math made structuring the chords and the music so much easier. So I have been singing since I was 5 years old, and I have been doing music full time for the past 6 years. But the first time I did it was actually 10 years prior to that, for about 5 years. But I had a accident in between those years, which made me have to go get a regular 9 to 5. And I thought that was going to be my job. I thought I was going to work at a bank. And then I had an opportunity to play a late night TV show with a man named David Letterman. And I quit my day job to pursue my dream job of music. And I had been doing it ever since. And then the pandemic ruined, a few things, as we all know. And so the good thing about that, though, is that it gave me an opportunity to use all the talents that I had acquired over the years from my dream job, my day job, and whatever this is right now to start applying that to things that I really like. And one thing that I really like is working with kids. I know that it might seem kind of silly as a kid, like, why would an adult want to work with kids? I think kids have the best ideas. I think kids uh, know what's hot and what's like cool on the radio in a way that adults just don't understand. I know that because when I was a kid, like my parents would play stuff and I'm like, why are we listening to this? Like why can't we listen to what I want to listen to? When I was y'all's age, I was really into Destiny's Child and Beyonce. That's what was getting started. But that all being said, as an adult, I have learned that listening to my teachers, listening to my parents when I was your age made it so much easier for me to do what I wanted at the age that I'm at now. So, for anybody that's unsure whether you've heard of me or not, it doesn't matter, but I am happy to say that I get to do what I love for a living. I get paid to do what I love for a living. And when things go bad, like pandemics, I have the opportunity to do cool stuff like right with y'all. So I don't know if y'all have had the opportunity to hear any of the remixes I did of the songs that got sent to me, but I told your teacher that whether you like it or not, it's totally fine. The cool thing about collabing is that sometimes the person that works with you might not work the same way that you do, but the cool thing about music is that you can always keep trying different ideas. So because I was late, I wanted to leave room for as many questions as possible, but that's pretty much my spiel.
Cam, do you want to play some of the beats that you worked on? Do you have those up in front of you, or you could have Brianna do it? She was playing them earlier. Maybe we could have you talk about a few of the beats that you really liked and what went through your head when you added on some vocals to them.
Yeah, I think it'd be easiest for probably Brianna to play the beat on her end, and then I can explain it after.
Awesome. Anyone in particular you would like me to do?
Uh, let's start with Jaden's.
Okay. Jaden is in the meet, by the way. So, hey, Jaden, this is your beat. And people who don't know what's going on, sixth graders, you guys made some beats last quarter. Fifth grade did a few last week, and then Cam picked a few and added the vocals to it. So I hope this plays pretty well, but. Can we hear it? Good. Nice.
Cam, you're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry. I was going to say thank you so much, first of all, Jaden, for making the beat. I was really just blown away by just the bare bones that were there. And one thing I really saw across the board with all the beats was that everybody had like an idea of what they liked. I asked your teacher the music that you guys were listening to, and she suggested Juice World and Ariana Grande and Billie Eilish. And, like I know that while obviously I don't sound like any of those artists, the common theme with every artist that makes that type of music usually is the artist that inspired them. And so for Jaden's beat in particular, I wanted to kind of focus more on that kind of like Travis Scott, Juice WRLD, where they're very like focused on layering the sound. So I don't know how much time might have spent on vocal production in the classes, but one common thing you'll see all those artists do is layer the tracks of their vocals. So for folks that might not understand, that's literally just one track. For that one particular, I would go Jaden made the beat, Jaden made the beat, that would be track one, right? And then I would want to do one up, so it would go Jaden made the beat, Jaden made the beat, Jaden made. And because I was like, man, well, let me listen to Juice WRLD again. okay, he always had, may he rest in peace, a lower level. So it's the Jaden made the beat, Jaden made the beat, Jaden. And because I was like, okay, well, I want to sound lower, I added just a little monster effect to that level, put all the tracks together, and then literally kept adding more stacks that were the same or in unison with what I had done before to fill it out in the same way as what a lot of those artists do. So to get the vocal sound that Juice WRLD would have is, in particular, um, you would need to add something called a plug-in, which is an additional vocal effect. But that's something that I wish I had learned at a younger age in production, because I always thought, you know, when I first got started, I was like, man, they're doing all of this with their voices themselves. I didn't know that the technology or the computers were assisting them. But the cool thing is that once you have the tools, you can find the technology to help you achieve your dream. But thank you so much, Jaden. I hope that helps anybody that might be wanting to kind of dive in on their own. And the cool thing also about stacking in that way is you don't have to be a good singer to do it that way. Like if you put the right plug-in on, you could just Jaden, like let's say you sing like this, Jaden made the beat, Jaden made the beat, Jaden made, you know, it would still sound great once you put the technology on there. And I don't want to encourage you to always lean on that, but I want to tell you that so that you're not stressing yourself out when you're creating future tracks and it's just not the best vocals or other things. But let's go to someone else's beat.
Okay. And hey, fifth and sixth graders, we talked about layering this the whole time you had music class, right? So that was exactly one of the things we've been working on.
And also, sorry, just to interrupt you, every single artist you recommended does that. From Billie Eilish normally does 3. I know I only know this just because I've sang my whole life, y'all, so I can tell. Billie Eilish likes to do 3. Did y'all talk about panning in that class? So panning is when you're recording a vocal, you can have it go to either your left ear, your right ear, or it can stay in the middle. So one thing that Billie Eilish likes to do a lot of is she'll do 1 in the middle. So I don't know the lyrics, but it'll be da 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 da. Y'all know what the song is. And then she'll do the same exact stack, and then she'll pan it to the left. And then she'll do the same exact stack, and then she'll pan it to the right. And then she'll come back again and do the lower vocal the same way. And the next thing you have is 6 stacks, right? But actually, you only have 2 on the left, 2 on the right, 2 in the middle. But when you're listening, it ends up sounding like you have a full sound all around you. So yeah, let's go to the next one.
Anyone in particular?
Let's do one of the ladies.
Okay. Let's see. Let me see who's in here. I see Layla.
That's fine.
I think they're all in here. All right, cool. We'll do Layla's since I saw her face just now. Okay.
Can you believe that someone under the age of 10? Hey, Layla, oh Layla, yeah, she meant to be. Layla May, yeah, Layla May, yeah, Layla May to be. Layla May to be, Layla May to be, Layla May to be. Layla May, Layla May, Layla May, Layla May, Layla May to be. Layla May, Layla May, Layla May, Layla May, Layla May to be. Layla May to be. Layla May to be, Layla May to be.
So I, again, I'm going to say thank you to every single person that made a beat, whether I got to hear it or not. It's always a really fun and very vulnerable time to share your ideas in such a public way. I know there's a lot of people in here. So again, as a pro, I want to let everybody know y'all absolutely killed it. Layla had a lot of her beat already developed. So when I first heard it, I was like, okay, I don't need to do much. But I would love to bring a little bit more drama to it. So I added some horns to it. I'm in a band with like, I have to think about it. I started out with 10 people, and we usually go between 8 and 9 members of the band, and we have a full horn section. And that is something that, even though you might not see it on stage at a lot of concerts, those band instruments, those orchestral instruments, I'm sure some of you probably are being forced to play piano or violin or something by your parents. Listen, if you, it might be boring, it might not be the funnest thing right now, but those foundations of music will make your life so much easier, and you'll get paid so much more money if you know how to do it all. If you know how to be yourself in the music, but also you know how to do the foundations of music, you will be able to get way more money. You'll be like, I can do both. But yeah, I absolutely loved this beat. I had a good time. Also, you'll hear most of my lyrics have the person's name. And it's because I really wanted to focus on showing y'all the energy, showing you different ways that you could approach it, and also just showing you like it doesn't need to be overthought when you're writing the vocal idea. You know, the lyrics can come later. You don't have, like, some people think, oh man, I can't start working on music until I have lyrics. Some of my favorite singers, including Mariah Carey, Beyonce, Lizzo, a lot of them start off with just da-da-da, da-da-da-da, you know, ideas, and then the words come later. But some folks, the words come first, and then the music comes later. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But yeah, let's go to the next one.
Hey, Cam, would it be okay if we stopped and did a few questions instead, and then we can go back in?
Of course.
Cool. Okay, so fifth graders, I know I chose some of you guys already to ask your questions. So you guys kind of know who you are. Let's see. Hey, Teresa, do you want to go first?
Sure.
You can unmute and ask. Cool.
Okay. My question for Kim was, what music artist do you look up to?
Ooh, there are quite a few music artists that I look up to. My absolute favorite artist that I look up to was an artist named Prince. He passed away a few years ago, but I loved him because he could play every single instrument, he could sing every single voice part, and he could act. And he loved working with women, and he loved showing women that they could produce themselves and that they could write themselves during a time when a lot of people in the music industry weren't showing them that they could do it. In addition to that, I really liked him because he was one of the first artists that were Black that I saw that was out here doing music the way that he wanted to. And while you see a lot of artists of all colors out now, when you listen to music, you can pick it up and you can see everybody, right? When I was your age, it wasn't like that. And it would be maybe one or two that would really get to be shown to us a year. And so that year, it would be like, Prince, Prince. And could you imagine only having one artist that looked like you, and it's a boy? And that's all you have to cheer about. But thankfully, as I got older, you know, I got more options, and now I'm out here and I get to be an artist that young women get to see as well that look like them. And while anybody of any color can obviously make music, it always feels good to know that someone that looks like you has done it, so that it is possible in your mind. And even if you haven't seen someone that looks like you, it's still possible, because that means you'll just get to be the first, which is also really cool.
Thanks, Teresa. Hey, Nathan, would you like to unmute and ask yours?
Okay. So my question for you, Cam, is during live performances, what does it feel like?
Relief and magic, and it's really fun. Like, I would say it's like saying all the cuss words at one time, and it's it's like, eating dessert first, and I really miss it.
Yeah, because I'm guessing with the pandemic, I mean, I know I'm a violist. I've played in many orchestras, and I'm not playing nearly as much as I was with other people. And that's
It's
the
heartbreaking,
main thing I miss.
but it's heartbreaking. But we get to come back, and a lot of people don't get to come back to what they do. And I know it looks like I'm emotional, but really, that's how serious and how much I love what I get to do. And I hope every single one of you finds something in your life that you love as much as your teacher and I love music. Sorry, that's how much I
Oh,
love
I'm
it.
like feeling the same way, actually. I was having this conversation, and I know I've told some of the students too. The main thing I miss from this pandemic is making music with other people. Absolutely. So I can only imagine how people who are like truly in the industry feel right now. It's a part of your life that you don't understand fully until it's gone.
It's a
So
lot, but like it's also forced us to um, get smarter and get better at how we communicate with one another. Zoom is not fun. Zoom is not fun for anybody. Like I always tell people, for the kids that are having to learn on Zoom and go to school on Zoom, no adult understands, because this is y'all social life. This is how you get to hang out. This is how you get away from your parents, who can be equally annoying, but it's like, I feel for y'all, and I don't feel bad the fact that I can't go back to music again. I get to go back. We get to go back to playing when this is over. Y'all don't get to redo elementary school the way that you wanted to. You don't get to redo middle school the way you wanted to. But I hope you all write this down, because it'll make for really good songs. However you're feeling right now, write it all down and then put it into a song later.
thanks. Let's see. Rayleigh, would you like to unmute and ask your question? I think she's here.
Do you ever get nervous, and what do you do when you do get nervous?
I get nervous. Not all the time. Like, I don't get nervous before like just a regular show. When we do TV, sometimes the most nervous I've ever been has been, have y'all ever seen NPR Tiny Desk concerts? If you have, so that was the most nervous I'd ever been.
We
And
watched last week, actually, a little bit.
you can see me, but I was nervous the first two songs because I thought I was gonna mess them up. And when you perform live, you get a speaker in front of you called a monitor. But at NPR, at this time, it wasn't allowed, and that monitor allows you to hear yourself. And so that meant I couldn't hear myself over a 9-piece band. And when you watch the video, I'm standing on top of the desk. And I think people thought I stood on top of the desk to be fancy or to like cause a show. No, because I had had years and years of vocal training, I knew that a voice by itself cannot outpower 9 instruments. A voice by itself cannot outpower a horn section. And so we had a very well thought out sound plan, and I had a very unplanned panic attack before I went on stage. And the band is playing down, the horns are playing down, I'm singing up, and by the second song's ending, you can see my relief come over. I'm like, okay, I didn't mess it up. Okay, all right, we can have fun now. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I really got to just have a moment, because back when I was working that day job, I daydreamed about playing that little desk. And when I finally got there, I was like, okay, girl, the nerves have to stay in the car when you finally get to the place that you want to be at. And, they'll boil up and you'll feel like you can't go on stage, but then it's kind of like when you exercise and you don't want to and you feel better after you exercise. It's like that. Once you get on stage and you start going, it's like, oh, I'm so glad I did this.
All right. Hey, why don't we do, I know we had a lot of questions, but why don't we do one more and then we can kind of take it from there. Let's see. Ty, can you unmute and ask your question? I know your mic maybe wasn't working, but. And if Ty doesn't unmute, then I can ask for him. Okay, it looks like his mic doesn't work. So Ty's question was, what is your advice to someone who wants to pursue music? Maybe somebody who's in 5th or 6th grade right now.
Yes. Depending on what side of the industry you want to be in, either as a performer, a teacher, or maybe you want to work on the business side, an executive, whatever. You should learn how to play music and how it works. If you feel or find out, hey, you know, I love music, but it's not coming as naturally to me as my friend that might have more talent, or maybe they were able to practice in a way that yielded more results. There's space for everybody, be that on tour or whatever, or working at a label or a festival. But the best way to get started is to just be in it. Go to concerts, listen. If you want to write music, want to write the best music you've ever heard, listen to artists that inspire you, and then go online and look at who inspired them. Because let's say you like a Ariana Grande, that's great, but listening to a bunch of Ariana Grande isn't going to help you sound the way you want to sound or get the skill that she had. Ariana Grande got her skill from listening to Whitney Houston and listening to Mariah Carey and listening to Aretha Franklin. You have to know the greats. When people are like, oh man, everyone loves Aretha Franklin, everyone loves Aretha Franklin. A lot of people don't know that Aretha Franklin was actually taught how to sing by a mentor. A lot of great singers have mentors. Aretha Franklin's mentor was Mahalia Jackson, and Mahalia Jackson was considered one of the greatest gospel singers of all time. But due to how the music industry has been laid out, a lot of times, the legacies of those older Black artists aren't as popular as others just because there's not as much record. However, her respect within the community still exists. I was raised heavily on her music because my grandmother was just around a lot and had a lot of Mahalia Jackson records. But then as I started singing and I became obsessed with Aretha, I wanted to learn everything about her because we have the same last name. We're not related. I was like, oh, I want to know what I need to do to get that good. And as I found out, there was absolutely nothing I could do to sound as good as Aretha Franklin, who is considered the Queen of Soul. I know a lot of people your age don't know who Aretha Franklin is, but if you don't know who she is called the Queen of Soul music. And she had a career that spanned about 6 decades. And tons of #1 hits, and she inspired tons and tons and tons of singers, including myself.
Awesome. All right. So our students who are in school are going to be dismissing in like 7 or 8 minutes. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with to kind of wrap up with everything?
Yes, for sure. I know that some of you, you know, maybe you're not going to become musicians. Maybe this is just kind of like a one-off point in your life. Maybe for some of you, you're like, all right, I got the tools I need. I'm going to get started today. I'm going to get on Soundtrap, and I'm just going in until I'm 18 or whatever your plans are. I see the litness happening. It's awesome. I want to let you know that you can do whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do if you learn how to do it. Like, and I mean that so seriously. You can do whatever you want to do if you learn how to do it. Now, a lot of artists think that becoming a famous musician or world-class musician means just learning the music or just learning the craft. No, 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 no. You have to learn the business side. And I know you're like, business, like what? But here's the thing. Artists are not protected. We're not protected. You are a CEO when you get to come into this industry. You are a leader automatically when you decide that you want to be a musician for a living. But just like any other job, it has its consequences and it has its big, 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 big wins. But That means that you have to learn both sides of it to win and achieve. And I believe in all of y'all.
Cam, thank you so much. I know that there's some students who might have like a couple extra questions that I'd be happy to entertain if you're okay with that.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say we can answer their questions and you can just send the beats to them directly.
Totally, yeah. So students, I'll get the beats, all the rest of them. We listened to 2 of 6, so I'll push the rest out to you guys. If you are in a class that needs to dismiss, totally go ahead and do what you guys need to do. Virtual people though, if you have like an extra question, I see Keel's hand up, something like that, we can take some of those as well, okay? But anybody who needs to go because dismissal is in 5 minutes, thank you so much for being here. Keel, want to go ahead and unmute?
Yeah, I have one quick question. So how hard is it to make songs and how hard is it to name them? Because I know like you can't like copy other beats of other songs and you can't do other names of other songs. So how hard is it to, like do that?
Well, technically you can have the same name as a song that has already had that name, as long as the name isn't trademarked. And that's a much deeper conversation. But as far as making songs or how hard it is to name a song, that's all up to you. If you are the songwriter and you are the producer, you are in complete control. So if you wanted to just literally say, you know what, I'm gonna name my song Television Cat, you could do that because that's what art is, and you could put it on the internet as Television Cat, and if Television Cat went to #1, we would all be dancing to Television Cat at the club, right? And so that's how easy it is to name it. But as far as making a song, it goes back to how much effort you want to put into learning how to do it. There are some people that can just learn music. They can sit next to an instrument and just pick it up, right? And like other people that'll play it every day and they'll practice all day and they're nowhere near as good as that person. And it's weird. It's like that with sports, it's like that with learning, it's like that with everything, right? And so I would say, there's no real limitations to any of this. And if you want to name a song, whatever you want to name a song, you can do that. If you want to put all that effort into practicing your craft and learning the foundations of music and business so that you can become a #1 artist, you can do that. But again, you have to learn both sides. And I hope that's the lesson again that every single person takes from this, is that if you want to be a rock star, it starts with learning step 1, 2, 3, as far as the foundations of music, learning English, learning vocabulary, learning math, learning respect, learning how to listen, learning how to collaborate with one another. Because everything you're learning in school right now, those group projects, that one person that doesn't do their work and then they want the same grade as you, that kind of stuff, the same thing can happen on a song. If someone's supposed to play drums and they don't do their part and you're over here killing it on bass and I'm singing and somebody's over on keys and then the drummer's just like, it's the same thing. So while it seems so dumb and so boring sometimes to listen to what your teachers and your parents are saying, here's what I used to tell myself. I'm gonna listen to y'all till I'm 18. I'm gonna do everything I'm supposed to do till I'm 18. Then I'm gonna go do whatever I want. And you know what my mom said? Okay, girl. Okay, girl, as long as it's all A's, you can do whatever you want. And I said, okay. And that's what it was. But you know what? It worked out. And I tell people, even though you might not see me on the radio or on your TV every night, my bills are paid and I do what I want. I had, I don't even, I have a good day because I can every day. And it's because I did the work in the beginning so that I could do what I want later on in life. So Keel, I hope that answers your question. And I hope you continue to do whatever you want. My guitar player actually keeps a list of names that he thinks are cool. So, he always just has a long list of names.
Yeah, I still do soundtrap and I still do like other songs. Like my mom over here loves it.
Yeah, you should keep doing soundtrap because soundtrap is very It's very similar to what the pros use. And, you know, once you get familiar with that, then you can graduate to some of the more serious projects. Maybe that can be a goal by the time you get to high school, to get on maybe Logic or Pro Tools, so that you can learn the extremely professional side of that. Because we've seen with Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas, I believe, that
Mhm.
you can make these records at home. You can make these albums at home. I've made this past year during the pandemic 26 songs at home.
Mhm.
It can be done.
That's pretty good.
The creativity never stops, bud.
Yeah.
It keeps going. It never stops. As long as you are creative, your creativity will keep going. I tell you that when you're making your songs too.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with me playing violin. The creativity keeps going.
Yeah.
I love
Thanks,
that.
Keel.
Great. Y'all should make a song together. If she's playing violin, you got help at home.
Hey, Sam, would you like to ask your question? And then we'll do London and Rylan. Go ahead, Sam.
What
Conroy.
if you have stage fright?
If you have stage fright, there are a few options that you can go with. Okay, so number one, you can get another job. If you don't want to get another job and you want to do this, we have some options. Number two, you can practice in front of a friend. You can practice in front of two people that you feel comfortable with, and be like, hey, I want to practice with just y'all so I can get used to this. And then you can start getting bigger and bigger and bigger crowds. If you find yourself to a point where it just never goes away, or you're embarrassed or whatever, you can take a cue from what Keel's doing, and you can get a mask, and you can go out in that mask. Two artists in particular were very, very known for that, for just going out in masks all the time. Bjork, who sometimes doesn't wear a mask, sometimes she does, but if she's DJing, she'll definitely wear one because she has extreme stage fright. Or another artist that just passed away, his name is MF Doom. And MF Doom is another artist that inspired almost every single artist that your teacher sent to me. His beats, the way he makes beats, the MPCs, the MP3s. If you're familiar with the Akai Mini, everybody knows this. This is like the MF Doom, J Dilla, like foundational instrument. But that being said, stage fright, it might not ever go away. Adele still has stage fright, right? But you see that she goes out there. You have to look at it kind of like a stutter. You can push through and learn how to talk and get comfortable with it, or you can stay silent and no one will ever hear what it is that you have to say. So I encourage you to keep practicing and get more confident within yourself, because eventually you're going to have a project that you're not going to just want to keep at home and in your computer. You're going to want to share it with the world.
Hey, London, did you have a question? Go ahead.
So what happens if you say the wrong thing when you're singing?
The song keeps going. There is a line from an artist that most of you are probably not old enough to listen to yet. He passed away a few years ago, and his name is Pimp C. He was part of a rap group from Texas named UGK, and UGK has inspired almost every single rapper I can think of, from Wiz Khalifa to Drake to Travis Scott, to everybody. Anyway, the line was, ain't nobody tripping because the money is already made. So the fun thing about being a musician is that there's a contract and they have to prepay you and pay you after the show is over. You making a mistake is not in the contract. You get to write whatever you want. You are the artist. The job is entertaining, right? So it doesn't matter if the words are right. It's like, are you entertained? Like, are the people having a good time? I have written hundreds of songs. I don't know the words to all of them. But you know what I learned 3 years ago? I went to a birthday party for an artist named Mavis Staples. Mavis is in her 80s, and Mavis told me, girl, I don't know the words to all them dang songs. Teleprompters are there for a reason. And when I started looking back, I saw these videos of all these greats, all these people that I've been compared to, but you get all this pressure. The lyrics are wrong. The lyrics, da, 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 da. When you're in school and you're putting on a program and your teachers are hard on you or your instructors are hard on you because you made a mistake, it's because they want you to learn the part. It's not because you're not a good artist or because you're not capable of success. My choir teachers used to tell me that I would never have a career over and over and over again because I was too fancy, because I was too extra, because I was too dramatic. And they were right though, because I wasn't following their direction for their show, but they were wrong in that there's no one right way to sound when you're becoming an artist. There's room for everybody out here, right? It's about hard work and learning the job. Side note, all of my former classmates that also did music, none of them do music anymore because they didn't keep doing the work. They had the talent, but they didn't want to do the business side. They didn't want to learn the foundations. They didn't want to go through the hard part of what you have to do this every single day. Um, I will tell you, focus less on mistakes and focus more on having a good time. The more good time you're having as you're doing it, the easier it gets, and that's the best way I can explain that. And that's with anything, singing, instruments, everything.
All right, guys. Hey, last question for today, and then we'll unfortunately have to say bye since school is over. Rylan, go ahead and ask yours. I saw you with the hand up.
How many times would you perform in a week?
Well, it really depends on what it is. So, the most shows that I've ever done, which it was not healthy on my voice at all, was for an event called South by Southwest. South by Southwest is known as an event in Austin, Texas, where if you're and it's where a lot of people in the industry get introduced to a lot of new artists, right? But for new artists, because you're trying to get discovered and there's so many people from around the world there, it's in Austin, you try to play as many times as possible over the course of 6 days. And so our record at South by was 14 shows, and 14 shows in 5 days is not healthy. There's a video somewhere online. I'll have to send it to your teacher where I barely had a voice. And we were singing our song "Make Some Room," which it's usually I know how to love and I know who. But for this one, because I had no voice, it was I know how to love and I know who I like. I sounded very like a lot was happening. But when we're on a tour, I usually try to ask for no more than 3 days in a row, and it's because I'm a belter. Um,
Oh no, I'm good.
by belter, that means like I can project and I project my voice for long periods of time. Ariana Grande is a belter. Uh, uh, Billie Eilish would be more like falsetto, but she can belt, but she just doesn't do it as much in her music. Um, the ideal for me would be 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off, but that's not how it works. And so, but I love performing. And our maximum is usually 90 minutes. Anything more than 90 is pushing it. They tell you that the healthy singing maximum is 2 hours, and that's for a voice that is at full growth. So usually I think a fully grown voice is considered 25. So y'all shouldn't be singing that long.
Cam and Dan as well from Newport Festival Foundation, thank you so much for today. Unfortunately, we do have to kind of tie it up because school ended 10 minutes ago. But the kids who are still here we're like half and half right now. Some of us are in school, so they left, but it looks like a lot of the virtual people are still on. Hey, thank you so much. I really think we kind of learned a lot about the industry and like what it's actually like to be a musician when you're an adult. Yeah, thank you. Can't really say much more.
I will listen to all your songs for the rest of my life.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. And I hope you all
No
continue
problem.
making music.
Alrighty. Dan, I think we are good, right? Anything else?
We're great. Thank you all so much.
Cool. All right. Hey, Thompson students, you guys are good to go. Have a great weekend. This was a nice way to end our Friday.
Bye.
Bye. Hope you have a good
Bye.
weekend.
You can
Good
say
day.
bye too if you want.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Awesome. I think we had at some point, there was like 96 people on the meet max. So that's more like some full classes were in there. So I think there's probably like 150 kids or people.
I love that. That's so awesome. All right, well, you guys be safe. Have a great day. Bye.
All right, guys. I'm going to end it. See ya.